All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Quick Chat podcast.
Quick Chat, soon to be renamed podcast.
Yeah, it's a work in progress, that title. It will be doing a rebrand eventually in the next few months. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. We're in White Tanks State Park, just outside of the Phoenix area. Surprise, Arizona, I think is the closest city to us.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were saying, surprise.
Surprise! I'm gay.
Surprise is right there.
Yeah, cool name for a city.
Mm-hmm.
Got a good chat for you guys today. As always, I'm a prophet. I can just tell this one's going to be a good one.
Sweet.
I'll start us off with a question. So, what do you think is maturity? What do you think is that process or the end result?
Okay. All right. I think maturity is a constant process, and it's a process of finding like your true, most relaxed self. Like when you're truly mature, like it doesn't mean that you're like serious like most people, I don't think, because I don't ever really want to be serious. I don't want to take life seriously. Maybe that means that I'm not mature, but I think if you grow into being the version of yourself where you're most comfortable, not worried about what other people think about that version of you, or
So
not giving a shit about other people.
Not giving a shit. So, yeah, the process of being mature, I guess, or becoming mature from immaturity is an acceptance of yourself, a confidence in yourself without the need for validation from other people and or accomplishments or such.
Yeah, not feeling the need to be a certain way, to be liked or to be accepted. You're not trying. There's a lesson in there. But you're not trying to be anybody other than yourself.
You just are.
Yeah, you just are you. What you see is what you get. You're true. You're always going to be that way. You're not like different ways for different people. You're just Sam. You're just Henry. You're just Chris, whatever your name is.
Yeah, Chris. I know a couple of Chris's. No, I like that. I've been reading this book. Obviously, Sam knows this, but everybody else doesn't. I've been reading this book, The Power of Now. Great book. It talks a lot about being and disassociating from, or maybe disidentifying is the better word, from your mind and the constant thought train that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like because in reading this book, I've had moments of true presence at which it kind of brings out in you. And in those moments, I've felt like I genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, don't care what other people think, what other people are doing. You know, FOMO disappears. All of those things disappear when you're in the present moment, in the now. So that's kind of what spurred this question from me is achieving that state is, if we're going to say that truly is the sense of maturity. A lot of people in society and that we know and just in the world at large aren't mature, no matter their age.
Yes. I think that, like a lot of concepts in life, everybody's kind of got the wrong idea. I don't know, society's just so one-track minded. They think that everything has to be a certain way. I think a big part of life is realizing that nothing has to be any sort of way. Everything just is what it is. And accepting that and realizing that rather than trying to constantly change things to meet your mind, meet your mold of what it should be, reduces a lot of your stress in general.
Yeah. And that's one of the main problems that our world is facing today is the anxiety and the mental health crisis that seems to be gripping everyone so strongly. It's got everyone in this vice grip right now. Nobody everybody thinks that it's okay to be anxious because everyone else is. And it's not to say that, things aren't okay. Obviously, wherever you are in your process, that's where you're supposed to be at that moment. But understanding that living in a place that's rooted in anxiety and fear and stress, that's not normal, no matter
Yeah.
how often you see it out in the world.
Yeah. Being wherever you're at in the process is true as long as you're aware that you're in a process. If you're not trying to not like if you're unaware that you're anxious, then you're not on a process to become less anxious, so then it's not okay to be anxious really. Like it's only okay when you're working towards becoming not anxious or whatever it is.
Right. That's like something I've heard on social media recently where it's like, it's okay to, like, just to put this into maybe different words, it's okay to be stressed. It's not okay to stay stressed.
Yes.
It's not okay to start out, maybe you're like gruesomely overweight. It's okay to realize that you are. It's not okay to stay there and not
Exactly.
try to make progress or such.
Yep. If you're fat, then you just need to accept it and then work towards not being fat. Like, you didn't know any better before. You weren't trying to not be fat, and then you ended up fat. You didn't fail at anything. You were just living your life. You ended up being a little chunky, and now that you've realized it and accepted it, you're moving towards not being as chunky. You want to shed some pounds. So that's now your goal, and then you can judge whether or not you're on track with that and whether or not you're doing okay based off of your goal. You didn't have a goal before.
Yeah. And I think we see everywhere, especially like with the overall message that's pervading society recently, and it's just getting more intense. They're almost kind of missing the point when they say things like, everybody is beautiful or everybody is perfect just the way they are. It's because they're taking the, like, oh, it's okay to be at this stage, and they're ending it there. Like, they're not looking towards what comes after the acceptance of the fact. Like, as much as I can vibe to some Lizzo and I can bump out in the car while she's singing whatever her songs are. I used to know some, but she's like the perfect example of this. Like, you are able to accept what you are and understand that there's nothing intrinsically wrong with you because of that fact about you, that you're Lizzo and you're 500 pounds or whatever you are.
Yeah. It doesn't say anything about your character. Like, you can say, like, everybody's beautiful, but that's really talking to the inner version of themselves. Like, everybody's personality is or has the potential to be beautiful and loving and accepting and, like, worth hanging out with.
Yeah.
But objectively, you're fat.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a question of, is this 350-pound behemoth more attractive than this, like, 100 and what? You don't even have to put numbers on it. This, like, supermodel. It's like, no. That's just how physical attraction works. But you're talking about two separate things. Physical attraction and emotional attraction. And emotional attraction doesn't depend on how much you weigh or what your face looks like or anything like that.
Yeah.
But some attraction does. Like, if you're trying to hook up with someone for one night, you're not picking the elephant.
Yeah.
You're picking the fucking cheetah.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Facts. Cheetahs are
sexy. Lioness, bro.
yeah. Ooh, you saw Lion King?
Bro.
Simba's mama?
Nala could get it.
Oh, man. That is disturbing. Yeah. No, be the cheetah. Don't be the elephant. I mean, and if you're going to be the elephant, just understand that there are health risks and judgments from other people that honestly are warranted at that point. Like,
yeah.
You got to understand everybody judges. I judge. Like, I try to go through life being the most open-minded, kindness-oriented person, and yet I still judge automatically based on seeing people. Before you open your mouth, if I see you on the street, I make an automatic assumption about you based on your physical appearance, which is ultimately just an expression of your
Your relationship with yourself.
yes, it is.
Yeah, it definitely is. And obviously, yeah, you're not supposed to judge. You're not supposed to make assumptions. That's what they say in the spiritual world.
Hmm.
Like to be a whole, like, no ego influence in your life. You're supposed to not make judgments, but it's impossible, pretty much.
It's very difficult.
And your physical appearance is your first impression. First impressions are still a thing, even if you're not judging.
Yeah.
So if you remove the judgment from it, when you meet somebody, the first impression that you have of them is what you see, because they haven't opened their mouth yet. You don't know anything about them, and your first impression is everything. Everybody's been saying that. It's something that you hear from when you're 3 years old.
Right.
So,
And even if, say the spiritually complete, the one who's reunited with the one and has recombined with their spiritual essence or whatever, the
yeah,
universe. Even if all of those people don't judge, you've got to understand that there's a vast majority of people in this earth that aren't there.
it's facts.
And a lot of those people have power and have control. And if you want to excel in the world and make your best step, make your best impression on people, you don't know if they necessarily believe in not judging others. It's a
Yeah.
natural instinct to judge things.
You're absolutely right. And it makes you feel a lot better, too. Like, if you're taking care of yourself and you're making sure you're in tip-top shape, you feel more confident. You probably have more energy if you're going from, like, fat to in shape. You feel better. Your body works better. Your mental health is better. You're just, like, happier as a human when you're not stuffing your face with donuts and shit. Like, there's definitely some of that, like, if you discipline yourself and then work on yourself every day, you're much more well equipped to deal with the world versus kind of just like letting yourself go. And then when you let yourself go, that's really when you've decided to let your life go.
Right. And one thing that this conversation has just brought out of me is another thing that we've been talking a lot about, which is habits. And
Yeah.
how your day is made up of different actions that you take, basically. And it's a hard concept to grasp when you don't have any like good habits necessarily. I'll speak for myself. Going to Florida State, waking up, smoking, drinking, eating fast food, stressing about the future. All of these things are bad habits. Scrolling on social media, all these things are bad habits that I engaged in every single day. And it made the culmination of all those small things resulted in a much bigger negative path that my life was going down. And it seems like insurmountable, or it seems overwhelming to try and change your life. You don't have to change your life in a big way to start. Like, something that I've started doing on this trip has been reading every day. And Sam knows this. He was on this wave before I was. But reading a little bit every day, writing a little bit every day, journaling your day, writing goals, consuming things. If you're going to be consuming something, consume something that educates you somehow. Consume something that makes you better than the day before.
Yeah. It's like that idea of you are like the summation of the 5 closest people to you. You're the summation of your social media feed as well. If you're looking at a bunch of thoughts and depressed people and shit on TikTok, guess what? You're going to think you're shit. You're not going to like your girl. Everything's going to be going wrong. You start looking at like people working out in the gym, you're going to want to get in the gym. If you start looking at people going on adventures, you're going to want to go on adventures. Like, whatever you put into yourself, whether it be real people, social media, YouTube, whatever it is, that stuff influences you. So make sure it's good. Like, it's just the same as food too. Whatever you're putting into your body or your mind, make sure it's of top quality, because it has a drastic impact on your life.
Definitely.
Drastic.
Definitely. And that point about social media, I really like that one. Because that really is the new age group of people that you spend your time with unwittingly. Like, you think it's just some scrolling on the internet, but really every person you follow is a person that you see every day. And that reminds me of one of the only things I actually learned in school that I can remember was this one lesson from one of my marketing professors where he was talking about how there was this study basically conducted in a neighborhood, and they were trying to get people to switch from or they were trying to convince people to use their energy less, to lower their energy consumption levels. So like turning the lights off,
Gotcha.
not running maybe the dishwasher every single night, things like that. And they found that when they went to a family and told them that it was better for the environment, they didn't give a fuck. Their habit didn't change. They found that when they went and they said it's going to save you some money, they didn't give a fuck. They didn't change. What they found was the only successful tactic in changing the behavior of these people was when they went up to them and they said, all of your neighbors have been engaging in this behavior. They've all been taking part in this new program which reduces energy consumption. And then that got the family or the household or whatever to actually change their behavior because they want to fit in.
Yeah,
And
it's so gross.
yeah, it is gross, but that's the way that we work as
Absolutely.
humans. Like
yeah.
the five people you spend your time with are going to be a reflection of who you end up being. It's because, just like you said, if all four of your closest friends are waking up every single day and banging out 1,000 push-ups, and you're just the guy that keeps ordering Domino's, you're gonna feel like shit until you wake up and bang out 1,000 push-ups with them.
Yeah. There's a finite amount of suffering that you can take before you start changing your life. And yeah, like you're saying, like if all your friends are banging out push-ups and you're not, and you're eating Domino's and you're getting fat and you're going in the wrong direction while they're going in the right direction, you're going to feel left out to the point where it forces you to do it. Or like you were saying about reading and making habits and turning your life around, there's only so much. You can only look at this like void of your life that you're going towards for so long before you realize that you have to change. There's something that has to change or you're going to be miserable. And that's a big motivator for discipline and implementing good habits in your life. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I really liked about what you just said too was about how there's only so much suffering that you'll take, and it reminds me of another thing that I read in that book. Anybody that's listening to this, you should start reading a little bit every day. Take one good habit. It doesn't even have to be reading, but if you're going to choose reading every day as your habit, pick up The Power of Now. It's very insightful. But one thing that Eckhart Tolle mentions in that book is that there's, as you said, there's only a certain amount of suffering that we will be able to handle before it basically forces us to make a change in our lives. And one thing that we do to dull our senses is consume drugs, alcohol, have sex, eat food, as well as other things that we, in modern lingo, would just call like dopamine rushes, right? And smoking weed, smoking anything, drinking, all that stuff. What it does is it dulls your sense of suffering. I think everybody knows this. When you go out and you have a drink or you have a smoke or whatever, it does dull your sense of suffering that you're experiencing in your life. And when you cut out those things, you'll actually be able to get an idea for the actual amount of suffering that you're experiencing. And that may already be a level that is high enough to force this feeling of like necessary change. But you won't know that if you wake up every day like I did, and first thing you do is you go and smoke, and then you go and you pick up your favorite fast food item,
Yeah.
and then you go home and you start drinking and XYZ, because you don't even know what you're dealing with, because you're always
constantly providing aid to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, stop aiding yourself. Like, let yourself feel the weight of the situation that you've put yourself in. Truly.
Yeah, that's kind of like how people say that some stress is good. And I wouldn't even really call it stress when you, maybe initially you feel overwhelmed and stressful when you cut out all these dopamine rushes and you're looking at your life and you're like, oh man, I have messed up. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to make this better. I don't know how to turn this around. You're probably going to feel overwhelmed and stressed, but the like opposite side of that, like turning that negative into a positive, is now you know that you're in a bad spot, and if you maintain this mindset, you can actually every day do a little bit. That's all you got to do. Just 1% every day to turn your life, and just implementing good little things. Wake up earlier, go to bed earlier, sit by yourself without your phone for 10 minutes, talk to your family, like anything. All of these things that you haven't been doing probably, and it constantly gets easier every time. It just makes you feel better. It makes a more positive impact in your life. It makes your life, it puts you in a position to do bigger things. So the small things, it's like a step thing. Like, in order to get up here, you need to elevate your life so that you can make that next step. You can't jump all the way up here right now.
That's a great metaphor.
But if
Whatever.
you do all these little habits, you get to a place where you can that's just an easy step. It's not something massive.
Right.
So,
like,
do the little things.
yeah, you don't have to jump to the 10th step right away. You don't have to.
No. No one should expect you. You shouldn't expect yourself to be at the 10th step right now.
Yeah, it's not feasible either. Like we've just been talking about. I mean, how many hours do you scroll on social media or YouTube a day? How many hours? I want everybody listening to go and look at your screen time and just be horrified. Stare at it for about 5 minutes and just understand how much time a day you look at your phone. I mean, it was horrifying when I was doing it.
Screen time is an interesting thing. Like we've been saying, like I put out one of my daily videos about it, where it's like your phone is not necessarily evil and screen time is not necessarily bad. That's where things are going. That's how life operates right now. So much of it is online. It's the way that you use it. Like if you're consuming bullshit on TikTok for 4 hours a day, you wasted 4 hours. If you're spending 6 hours on TikTok editing and creating videos and it's getting you followers and attention, that's a productive use of 6 hours, but it's more time on your phone. So it's not necessarily like, I mean, I know all of you watching this right now are not out there creating shit, so like fuck you basically in your screen time. But if for some reason one of you watching this is actually doing good shit on your phone, don't just like throw your phone away.
Yeah, no, that's a good bit of nuance there, because I don't want to make it sound like you have to throw away your phone, and that's probably how I just conveyed that. But say, like for example, how you just said, like you look at your screen time and you see, wow, I spent 4 hours on TikTok yesterday.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Well, what if you just take 20 minutes out of those 4 hours and you read a book? You don't even have to throw away TikTok. You don't even have to delete TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
Just take 10, 20, 30 minutes out of your TikTok time and put it into a productive habit. And then you'll feel better. And when you go on TikTok, then you'll feel like you earned it a bit more.
Yeah, you can use it as a reward, and you have 4 hours that you wasted. So that's 4 hours that you can invest in your life, like you're saying. And it wasn't even about how you said it, about like go on your phone less. It's just people will take that, and the easiest way for them to just like understand that is be like, oh yeah, I just won't go on my phone. And it's not that fucking simple. You don't get off that easy.
Right.
It's not like that. You gotta be productive all the time.
Yeah, you have to switch the flip. You have to switch the flip from...
Flip the switch.
Thanks. You have to flip the switch from consumption to creation. If you can do that, then you can put your attention wherever you like.
Yeah.
But you got to understand that when you consume, you're filling your vessel with other people's...
Yeah, and it goes
stuff.
for other stuff too. Like if you're someone who spends too much time with your friends and it's distracting you in your life, someone's saying to you, you can't, like, you need to watch how you're spending your time, like be don't spend all your time with your friends. That can be something that is positive for someone that has negative friends that are subtracting from them, but it can be a negative statement that will actually end up hurting them if their friends are grinding. Like if your friends are a productive influence on your life and someone tells you like you need to spend more time alone, then you're losing an asset. So it's like people just got to look at their life. Advice doesn't apply to everybody. It doesn't apply in the same way to everybody. And you need to have some sort of confidence in yourself to be able to decipher when it's a good advice and it's helping you and when it's bad advice and it's not helping you.
Yeah. You need that confidence that you are capable of discerning things.
Yeah.
And everybody is. Everybody is capable of this. They just think they can't. And that thinking they can't is the piece that actually prevents them from doing it.
Some people shouldn't be trusted.
Yeah.
Some people some people's brain is like wired to be like making bad decisions for themselves basically. Like if you're someone who is smoking all the time and trying to find dopamine hits, then your decision making is probably ass.
Right. That's facts.
And that's when it comes back to like work on your mindset so that you can be able to trust yourself and realize that you're on the right path. What you want to do and what your thoughts are for your life, you can trust those. You can be like, yeah, these are good thoughts. I'm on the right path now. That is a nice feeling.
Yeah.
Something that I've never had in my life, really. Probably.
Yeah.
Until now. Because, I mean, I wasn't doing anything special all of the rest of my life. I was just, like, doing what other people set out for me.
Yeah.
So
it was life on rails.
Yeah. And then total mindset switch to now, where it's like basically I wake up and all I think about is how I'm going to improve myself. That allows me to trust my thoughts, my intuition, my opinion on whether or not I should do something much better because I actually know where I'm going. I've said that like probably a million times on this podcast already. You got to know where you're going in order to make a decision. It's so facts. It's probably literally, that is the only thing that matters. If you take one lesson, one, out of everything that I'll ever say in my life, you have to know where you're going in order to make any decision, anything.
Yes.
It's straight facts.
That's the only way to get to your favorite concept of aligned action.
Yes, exactly. I love aligned action.
Yeah. And I'll add one more layer to that. Having your goal in mind is the only way to choose or to discern which action out of the ones you have available to you is the proper one to help you achieve your goal. But before you figure out your destination or your goal, you have to figure out where you are. And I think we've talked about this. We might have talked about it in the last one, but it's just such an important theme that we still we've been on this trip for 2 months. We've been talking about this stuff every day for like 2 months.
Yeah.
But it's still something that we keep coming back to, which is you need to figure out where you are right now. So like say you're addicted to, let's say you're an alcoholic, right? You're an alcoholic. You come to accept that you're an alcoholic. You realize where you are, right? Mm-hmm. Then you can say, okay, my goal is to simply in this example, not be an alcoholic, right? Then you come to a path and you've got two options. Have a drink or don't have a drink. If you don't know where you are and know where you want to go, those decisions are like you'll fall into the decision that gives you the instant gratification, exactly, which is having a drink.
Yeah.
But if you understand that you are in a place currently that you don't want to be in, alcoholism, and then you have a goal in mind, which is not being in that state, when you come to this fork in the road, which is do I have a drink or do I not have a drink, it will become clear to you. Don't have the drink.
Yep. It makes perfect sense. You gotta, part of that, like you're saying, is knowing like who you are. I think that's kind of just like another way to say where you're at. You are an alcoholic. You know what you are. And when you know what you are and you kind of like really dig into your heart kind of and like your deepest kind of how you view your life, where it makes you upset, how it makes you upset, and what you envision for like a healthy, health, happy, healthy life,
Mm.
that's how you can tell when you actually have a good goal. Like if you find the thing that you're constantly like knocking yourself for not being, that tends to be a good way to figure out what you actually want, and like a good place to set your goal. Fucking flies, dude.
Yeah, we are surrounded by
It's
flies.
insane. There's like 8 right here. It's very distracting. So yeah, you find the thing that you kind of knock yourself for not being. That gives you a clue to what your goal should be, and then you use some. Forgot where I'm going with this. You use some desire, and then you can
Discipline,
turn it around,
desire.
something like that.
Well, I'll give you a second to have it come back around, but just so I really like that piece that you just said about the thing that you are constantly knocking yourself for is a clue as to what you actually want, because a lot of people trick themselves or like deceive themselves basically through consumption of X, Y, and Z into lower states of consciousness or whatever, and so they can't even really figure out what they want. Like they're sitting here on the other end of this screen and they're like, well, what the fuck, bro? I don't know what I want. Like, I've been trying to figure it out. It's like, bro, what are the things that you get mad at yourself for?
Yeah.
What do you get mad at yourself for? And then follow those down. Okay, like, I didn't act how I wanted to in this instance. Maybe your boss gave you an order or a job to do, and that like pissed you off for some reason. Okay, well maybe you follow that strain down. Maybe you want to own your own business. Maybe you want to be your own boss because you don't like when somebody else dictates your time and your energy. Maybe it could be anything.
Yeah.
But follow those pangs of emotion down to the root, and it doesn't take long. You already know the answer.
Yeah.
You've just chosen to distract yourself from it because you don't think that there's something that you can do about it.
You got to give yourself time alone. You got to, because all these things, like you're saying, you're watching YouTube, you're watching this, you're watching TikTok. It's all distracting you. It's pulling your attention left and right. You never can sit there and have your attention on your life. If you sit there to have your attention on your life, you can figure out what parts of your life bug you, what parts of your life you enjoy, and then you can find things that you actually truly like because you're sitting there thinking about just your life. You're not comparing it to anybody else's life. You're not watching somebody else's life. You're not watching what someone else has to say. All of that stuff, when you're just consuming like shit about people and not really ever taking the time to apply it to your life, it pulls you a million different directions, and it feels like shit. You feel confused as fuck. Like when I first started this journey, I was watching the Mike podcast all the time, and like I was still on my phone a bunch and big time comparing my life to other people's lives, and I felt lost. I was like, how am I ever going to figure out and apply these concepts that Mike talks about to my life? Because I just like felt like I didn't have the time. I didn't know anything about me. I was just like this blob. And that's what you are when you're not spending time by yourself. You meditate, read, sit alone in your room for 10 minutes. Don't move. Period.
Leave the phone outside the room.
You don't have to do anything. Literally lay on your bed. This is what I did back in Tallahassee. I would lay in my bed for 10 minutes. No, like you don't have to do anything. You don't have to meditate. You don't have to watch your breathing. You don't have to do anything. Let your mind run. 10 minutes every day. Just sit there. It's all you have to do. Don't look at your phone. Don't move your body that much. Just sit there and stare at the wall. That's where I started. That was like the first building block on this for me. And it's an easy way to realize that when you spend time by yourself, you'll actually figure out your life amazingly quickly. Like, it's like you're saying, you don't have that far to go. It's all inside. So you just have to really remind yourself and rediscover these things about you and rediscover what you actually want out of life and what you don't have right now and what pisses you off about your life right now. And you actually just got to take time to feel those things. That's it.
You've only got one life.
Yeah.
So you sitting here saying, oh, well, it would be really nice to have this, but I don't know if I could do it. Dude, you don't get another chance. You don't get a better set of circumstances. You know, it's like, oh, I wish if my life was like this, then I would do this, and then I would be truly happy. Or like, I'll wait for my life to be in this moment, so that I'll have the perfect foundation to do this.
Excuses.
Dog, that time probably will never come.
Yep. The
You're-
right time is never.
Yeah, the right time is now.
Exactly.
It's
There's never going to be the time where it lends itself to you. It's not going to just be, oh, this is a perfect time to start a podcast. That doesn't happen.
yeah,
There's never that time. You have to make that time. You're not going to find it. You have to make it.
yep. That's another great little nugget there. It's not about finding spare time. You've got 24 hours in a day. Make time. Make time. It's not, I mean, maybe you're one of these guys that works some job and you legitimately work 16 hours a day on some oil rig or something. At that point, maybe you've just got to figure out a different job, that gives you more time. But
Yeah.
for 99.9% of people, you've got plenty of time. You just misuse it.
Yeah, you have the hours. You have, let's see. So you get home at 5, or you leave work at 5, probably get home at 6, 6:30 if you have a really hellish commute. So you have from 6:30 to about 11 to, you have, how many hours is that? 4.5 hours to eat. Go to the gym if you're a lazy fuck and you couldn't get up in the morning. That's only 2 things, but you have 4.5 hours to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, you got to be work at 9. You're an hour and a half away from work, so you got to leave the house at 7:30. So if you went to bed at 11, and then you wake up at 7, you're getting 8 hours. So you could chop that down to 7. You don't really need 8. You only really need 6. So wake up at 5, bang. It's another 2.5 hours you have in the morning.
Yeah.
So yes, you're just a lazy fuck. Don't get that twisted.
Yeah. Every time you open up TikTok or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it is, YouTube, anything, anytime you open up one of those, just understand that each of those minutes, I know that it puts your mind at ease and that it feels good and whatever. You're entitled to do all of that, but understand that that's not going to separate you from anyone else.
Yeah.
You have to understand that the people who make changes in their lives sacrifice things that you aren't.
Everything comes with a sacrifice. In order to be the 1%, you got to do stuff that 99% of people won't do. And a way that I've kind of curbed that habit of just like opening up Twitter or Instagram or TikTok, like that was like it was a frighteningly automated process for me where I would just take out my phone, open it, and then I knew where everything was. I didn't even have to think about it. Like I would just kind of be like, whoa, I'm on Twitter right now.
Yeah.
And so what I did about that was remove that shit from your home screen. You can still have the app on your phone. Apple allows you to do it now, but you have to like go and search it up and just create that hurdle for your brain, and it significantly decreases the amount of times that you're just going to hop on there because it gives you more time and more actions for you to catch yourself and be like, wait, this isn't actually what I want to be doing right now. I'm just doing this because I'm bored or I'm being lazy or I'm avoiding something else. So there's practical tips out here. I give you guys great tips all the time.
Yeah. Another tip is unfollow anything and everything that isn't aligned with your goal.
Oh yeah, I've been saying that forever.
I know you've got all those girls that you're super into, all those pictures you like, all those hot half naked chicks. Bro, that's not helping. That's not helping.
I like to keep a few on mine, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I follow my I keep it to about 5. I have like a roster of 5.
Nice.
It's my dream board. My Instagram is my vision board. I put the girl that I want, the job I want, the mindset I want, the car I want, like all that shit's on there. And it's just, I see that every day when I go on. It's like, oh, I don't have that yet. Must
Fair.
be more work to do.
Fair. See, and that's kind of harkening back to what we were saying earlier. It's Advice doesn't hit the same for everyone.
Yeah.
Like for Sam, he sees the hot chick on his page and he's like, I need to get there. That maybe pushes him to close the app. And I see her, I need to close the app and start going back to make money.
It happens all the time on TikTok. I'll be on there making a video, and then I go over and I'm scrolling, and I just see this absolute mama in the gym. Just a gorgeous woman. And I'm like, all right, I got to get off this app. I'm not getting anything done right now. So
Yeah.
you're making zero progress towards what you want, so you got to stop.
So
But you have to earn that. You really have to earn that right. Like, I went ghost mode for a while, and I ripped out all the habits of, like, mindless scrolling. So I'm not a mindless scroller anymore. I'm not. So I don't necessarily have the same problem of, like, going from this is a huge, like, time waster. So I just kind of see it as a vision board. Like, I'm on there and I'm productive. I'm not going to be on there for 3 hours. I'm not going to be on there for 30 minutes at a time. Just not how I work. I put in the time to fucking change that. So you got to do that too. And then you can have you get your roster going. You get your cars on there. You get your shit that you like to look at that you want in your life.
Yeah.
But until then, delete the app.
Yeah. No, it can't hurt to delete social media, especially if you're not trying to build a social media presence, which I think is a good idea, especially if you're a young person. You should definitely be trying to build a social media presence. It'll just help you in the long run at this point. But if that's not your cup of tea, and say you're choosing a specific career path that you really enjoy and you need to buckle in and get that promotion or build your business, get rid of this stuff. Like, you don't need it. Our ancestors didn't have social media, and I think they were okay.
I think George Washington took down an entire British Empire, but he wasn't on TikTok.
I think so. I think he went up against the biggest empire that the world's ever seen.
Yeah, when they crossed that Delaware, they weren't on their phone.
Yeah. No, they were rowing.
They were locked in the moment.
Yeah. Life and death.
Fully aware of the suffering that would ensue if they failed.
Yeah. If today was your last day, and I mean that's good advice, and sometimes it can be tough because if it's your last day, what would you do? Well, maybe you would just go out and indulge, right? If it's your last day. But imagine that what you did today was what you were going to do for the rest of your life. Would that end up putting you in a position where you would be at the top, or do you not want to be at the top? Think of it like that. If that's where building habits comes in. If I read today and journal today and exercise today and wake up early today, and I do all of that stuff for the indefinite future, you have to understand that 0.5% of the population does those things.
Yeah. The way that I think of it is every day I'm writing my story, right? So I want it to be a story that I would like to read by the time. Like, I want to be 80 and be able to literally read my story, read the book that I read, and it be a good book that I'm proud of, that was a life full of adventure and happiness and experience. But that's my life. That's what I want my story to be. If your story is you got a super stable job, married the woman of your dreams, and had a super awesome family, then you got to lock in and you got to make that happen. You got to wake up every day and write your story, regardless of what that story looks like. Just write it. Write the one that you want.
Everybody else is too busy writing theirs. They're not going to write yours.
Yeah, definitely not.
They literally, it's not even like they're being assholes thing. It's like they cannot.
Yeah.
So take charge of your life. Take ownership. Realize that the things that you want to happen will only happen if you make them happen.
Yeah, lean into your fears and make it happen, friends. That's a Touchgrass bio right there.
Yeah, that's a W bio right there. That's a gray bio. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like
I'm pretty cooked.
Yeah, we just totally fried the brain.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about it. I think
that's an intellectual high you experience when you absolutely tire your brain out trying to describe.
I literally do feel tired right now.
Yeah,
Maybe
I could sleep.
My little tidbit on the trip for you, little update. This is all my fault. I took my air mattress out of the tent, and I was pumping it up just because I didn't want to be in my tent. It was hot in there. And out here, there's cactuses and stuff. And apparently, there was a dead cactus near my tent, and there was a little bit of it with the spikes sticking out under my air mattress. And I laid down that night, shifted around, and pop goes the air mattress. So
Such an L, actually.
I've got it down to a slow leak as of right now, but I wake up at like 6 every morning on the cold, hard ground. So maybe I did not sleep last night. Maybe that's why I'm tired. But all around, it's been a great trip. And looking forward to getting inside, though.
Yeah, I can't believe we're in the home stretch here. We've really got like 3 weeks, basically, until we're driving to Denver, which isn't even really going to be part of the trip. It's going to be a totally different vibe.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get to Denver and see some people that we haven't seen in a while. And
then you'll get to catch a flight home.
Yeah.
After we get to Denver, you don't have to drive for a while.
It's done. Once I'm in Denver, I'm flying home, and then it's grind time. Gonna go monk mode. But the podcast is going to end up taking a kind of a different shape. Henry and I obviously will be not together anymore. He's going to be in Florida. I'm going to be in Massachusetts.
Yeah, we're breaking up for a little bit.
So the pod's going to have one of us and then a guest or maybe a solo pod.
Yeah.
Could rip a solo pod.
I could definitely rip a solo pod one day.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's going to be how it's coming at you. I'm excited. I'm excited to clean myself and, like, feel good about that. Because I'm recording all this shit and I'm, like, gross.
Yeah.
It's kind of a tough vibe.
Yeah.
But
we definitely don't enjoy being dirty as fuck all the time.
Yeah.
So.
And then also have the time to increase the production quality of this, actually film it in 4K and upload it on the desktop and edit it nice on some real programs. It's going to be, life's getting crazy. We're going hard on this. So
yeah, you guys that are watching now, you guys are the OGs. This thing is only going to be increasing in quality.
Yeah.
So
it's funny, like, I feel like everybody's kind of, all these people that I watch, I guess I really only watch a very select few people. I'm thinking about Nelk and Mike right now. They both started off with, like, some sort of, like, a trip or, like, a tour. And, like, no one was really a fan of them at that point. This is that. Like, we're just, like, kind of setting the ground. This is the shittiest podcast that you're going to get. On a long-term scale, these podcasts are going to suck. Yeah. Comparatively.
Yeah. You're in 1 year. Check back in 6 months to a year, and you'll see we'll have. I'm gonna put it in stone right now. In 12 months from now, we're gonna have a studio set up. We're gonna have multiple camera angles, 4K, soundboard, not disgusting hosts.
Yep. So we're looking November 2023, November 7th, 2023.
Yeah.
You guys can come back and hold us to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be a crazy year.
Yeah.
We got some exciting shit planned.
The next year is gonna be crazy.
Everything looks good. Like, my outlook on life is very exciting, and yeah, that goes to show, don't plan your life out too far in advance. I literally am gonna lose my mind on these 5.
Yeah, they're climbing all over your face over there.
Yeah. So yeah, don't plan your life out. You never know what's gonna happen, and just be in the moment. That's really what we did. I literally came into this trip saying to people, I don't have a plan for the trip or after the trip because I know the trip's gonna change my life. Worked out pretty well.
Yeah, called it.
Yeah, classic me. I'm the fucking best.
W guy. All right, y'all. Well, we're gonna wrap this up, and we're gonna go genocide some flies, and then edit a whole bunch of shit all day. So we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.
Yeah, see you guys. Have a good one.